All right, time to look at the recently finished up Mizzou softball season with head coach Aaron Earlywine. And coach, yet another regional, a young team that did a lot of growing this year, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of growing. We all grew. You know, just so many ups and downs, and you know, the injuries there at the end of the season. It's so true that no two seasons are alike. You know, and the more I coach, the more I know that to be true. And hopefully we all learned from it, because you know, we have a really good core of kids coming back next year, and could be a special season for us. And you know, generally, I don't know, for my own career especially, is sometimes the best seasons followed the worst seasons, just because you have such a bitter taste in your mouth and such a desire to prove people that you can do it. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how we respond and how we bounce back from all this.
You mentioned injuries towards the end of the year. When last we left, your star freshman pitcher, Tori Finucane, she missed the entire regional with, I believe, ligament problems. How is she feeling, and is she on track to be back 100% next year?
Yeah, she's feeling good. The great news was she didn't have to have surgery. Had she had surgery, it would have been a 5 or 6 month rehab process, and would have missed the fall, and I think that time would have been detrimental to her rehab process and to her development as a pitcher. But no surgery is necessary. Saw her this morning at camp. Said thumb feels good. She's doing rehab for it, and she should be ready to go in the fall.
You had a lot of players really develop this year, and some tremendous performances from players like Taylor Gadbois, Tori Finucane also obviously coming in as a freshman and starting from the ground floor, and also Corinne Genovese really seemed to take a big step. Just kind of touch on some of those players that you saw a lot of improvement from, that you can see taking maybe another step next year.
Well, you mentioned some of the main kids that really had good years, but we were just so young. I don't know, I didn't look around the SEC, but I got to think we were the youngest, or one of the youngest teams in the SEC. You know, we really only lose one starter from last year's team, but you know, you got kids like Sammy Fagan returning, Taylor Gadbois, Corinne Genovese, Tori Finucane, Natalie Fleming's a kid who, you know, hit close to 300 with 6 or 7 home runs and just limited at bats. So there's a lot of young talent on this team. Kirsten Mack was, you know, a kid who caught half the season as a freshman, grew a lot, and you know, when they come back their sophomore year, they're completely different human beings. They really are. And so I continue to remind myself of that, because we had 3, 4, 5 freshmen out there at many points during the season, and they were competitive. You know, we beat, at one point or another, we beat every team in the SEC that we played with a lot of young kids. So they're all a year older now, and you know, especially our pitcher is a year older. So we're just truly anxious about next season.
And you've got some more young players coming in. Mizzou continues to really be a magnet for some of the top high school talent in the country with the program that you've built. How do you feel like some of the young players coming in next year might be able to complement the up-and-comers that did so much growing this last season in your program?
Well, I think I'm done predicting what freshmen are going to do. I think I've learned my lesson in that regard. But that being said, you know, these are 6 highly touted, highly recruited, blue chip, All-American caliber potential players. Whether or not they materialize in their freshman year, you know, I don't know that yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or 3 of them didn't jump in the starting lineup and make a significant impact on our program.
It's a program that once again finishes in the top 20. You've done that every single year that you've been here. What does that say about the consistency that the program continues to bring year in and year out?
Well, for me, like, you know, I'm walking around depressed because you know, it's like one of the worst seasons we've ever had. It's actually, I think, the worst ending that we've had since I've been at Mizzou, and we're in the top 20. And so I have to remind myself, you know, hey, I know it wasn't a great season, but you were in the top 20, and it was your worst season in 8 years. So all things considered, I'm proud of the program. It's a culmination of a lot of really talented people, players, coaches, staff, you know, mixed in with, you know, a tremendous determination to win this national championship. And we are not wavering from our goals. We had a setback this year, but you know, if you look in the College World Series this year, many of those teams that played in the World Series, we either beat or looked them right in the eye with a really young team. So we're not backing down from what we want, which is a national championship and SEC championships, and we're going to get it.
Coach, appreciate your time. Good luck in the offseason. We'll see you next year.
Okay, thank you very much.
Head coach Aaron Earlywine after his team finishes once again in the top 20, one of the most consistent programs in the country.